Congressman, thank you for joining me. We've been hearing a lot of talk about this blue wave in November. How confident are you that Democrats will take back the House?
Well, I am very encouraged and very excited. I can tell you over the last couple of days, I attended a rally last night in Orange County, an area that typically has been very, very Republican. A group of women organized a effort there to turn out the vote. Today, this afternoon, Sunday afternoon, I was at Resistance Boot Camp, where there were a couple of hundred people representing a number of different organizations. So the level of activism and then what has already happened in a number of elections across the country on every level of government gives me tremendous encouragement. I don't want to be cocky about it. I don't want to be overconfident. There is a long time between now and November, but I feel very good about the energy that is out there now.
All right, I want to play some sound for you from Ohio Governor John Kasich, of course, a Republican. He was on CNN earlier today. He was talking about the midterms. He's, of course, been very critical of his fellow Republicans, but he thinks that you Democrats have a problem going into November as well. Listen to Governor Kasich.
I have no idea what they're for. I mean, they are really betting on the Republicans just bouncing the ball off their foot out of bounds and that they'll win the game that way. So I believe it will be a decent Democrat year, but it could be a big year if they stood for something. But, you know, and look, they're all screwed up, too, because the left wing is really dominating them, just like the right wing is dominating the Republican Party. It's an amazing situation.
And to follow up on the governor's point, you know, Congresswoman, I've talked to a lot of Democratic advisors, and it depends on who you talk to in terms of what the overriding message is for your party in these midterm elections. If it were you that got to decide that, what do you think is your party's message other than just being the anti-Trump party?
Well, first of all, I don't believe, especially in all of these elections that you've seen around the country, that Trump has been the primary message. If you look at the election that happened in Pennsylvania and all of the other elections, people have localized the message and the issue to what is happening in their district. And so if it's health care, if it's jobs, if it's the environment, you know, all of these races have to be local, and I believe that they are. Now, I know that Democrats overall feel that we certainly have a better deal. We have a better deal in a lot of different areas, but each race is local based on the constituents there.
Well, you heard the president at that Michigan rally. He obviously feels pretty confident that the Republicans can hold the House in November. And there's a report out this morning in the New York Times that goes into some detail on that. The article talks about how the president's actually rejecting the warnings among the Republicans that they could lose the House. And I'm going to read a passage from that article for you. Yeah, it says, quote, if Mr. McConnell's warning was not clear enough, Mark Short, the White House's legislative liaison, used the dinner to offer an even starker assessment. The GOP's House majority is all but doomed, he said. But Mr. Trump was not moved. That's not going to happen, he said, at different points during the event, shrugging off the grim prognosis, according to multiple officials briefed on the conversation. The disconnect between the president, a political novice whose confidence is in his instincts, was grandly rewarded in 2016, and more traditional party leaders demonstrates the depth of the Republican challenges in what is likely to be a punishing campaign year. Congresswoman, do you think the president doesn't understand how his presidency has possibly motivated his opponents to head to the polls in November?
Well, I would encourage the president to maintain that perspective. I think that's just fine. If he thinks that there's not going to be a problem in November and he continues on the course that he's doing now, I think that that's very helpful. I think that he made a commitment that he was going to bring the country together, and I think he's done that. He has brought the country together. What he doesn't realize, though, is that he's brought the country together in opposition to him. But now you have people who are working on issues together like they never have before, and I think that's a very positive thing.
Right,
I think also, at the end of the day, that what Trump cares about is himself.
Okay. All right, Congresswoman Karen Bass of California, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thanks for having me on.